Welcome back. So let's create this rain. I'm going to use the white walls section to do that. Like so, let's create the geom. Let's call this rain mist. Rain mist, and let me call it that. I like to color this light green just to know that inside this there is a simulation. So that's the reason why I like to color like that. We need to, my idea for that is that we're going to do like if you create a volume, volume. Whoa, sorry guys, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, a volume. And let's do a volume from the camera. It's just to know the area that we're going to be, that we want the rain to affect. So it's much better if we do that from the camera perspective. So let's bring the camera that we want. And we also want to like minus 0.1, 1.1, minus 0.1, so minus 0.1 and 1.1. This just give us a little bit more room around it. And let me just do like that. And also the near and distance, we can do like 2 meters and maybe 50 in distance. And you see like this is just like giving us more area. Yep. And let's change this by size. Yeah, like this. You see like the resolution here. If I increase that to 2, it just amplifies the area, so it's a little bit larger than what we have like from the camera. It's good. It's enough. Okay, so I want to do like a time shift because the camera is moving, right? Like, so I want to get like an average because I want to have like the bounding box of everything. So I'm going to do like 2 time shifts. And in this one, we're going to time shift to the first frame of our animation is the 72. And this is the last one, so 168, more or less like that. If you have like a very big camera move, you might want to add like one in the middle as well, or if the camera goes up and down and all that. So we just want to kind of capture the range of the animation. Merge. So here you see like that is the camera in the beginning, camera in the end. There's not a big difference. Move a little bit forward and change a little bit to the side, but we can create like a bound. The bound just going to encapsulate everything in here for the camera, and we can transform that because I can just move that up. We don't need the rain under the water, so I'm going to just do like a transform. I'm going to transform this 5 meters up. Yeah, that's good. And I want to blast. So if you check the primitive numbers like this, you can see which ones you have. Like, and from the camera perspective, the one that I want is this side here because I want the rain to blow from this direction, not the front one, not this one, this one. So because I know that this is the 0, I'm going to press 0 and delete non-selected. So now I have like this chunk, and I'm going to remesh it. Before you plug, yeah, we can do like a remesh. If your area is really big, I always recommend that you do the remesh outside and dial the number there, but I think we're going to go with the default value that's going to give us this mesh. It's kind of a dense mesh. The reason why we need this dense mesh is because we're going to store a noise on the point, so we need resolution for that. And let's dive and create this noise. So I'm going to do like a point VOP. And let's create like a, let's say that this is the noise I want. And I think we can go with the anti-aliasing noise. This one is good. So the position in here and the offset we can promote, so we can change that outside. We can clamp this the value between 0 and 1. We can visualize it in the color, but I also want to export it to density. All right, so we have like this. So let's define the parameters that we want. I want like less frequency, so I want it bigger chunks. So 0.12. Yeah, you see like bigger chunks. 1.9, like just to give a little bit more amplitude and contrast. And also I think it's good. Like we just want these variations in some negative spaces where we don't have the emission. So these breakups give us like a very natural look, or the depth of the environment. If you have everything just flying through the camera, what you lose is this like depth, like if you have chunks that pass in front of the camera and some in the back, and all these variations give a much more rich look for your scene. All right, so let's say like $t. It means like every second it's going to change, but it's going to change like actually every second is going to change a full unit, but between seconds, like in each frame, we're going to have like a fraction of that change. So it's not just going to stay still and then move and then move. So in this one, I want to do $t times 0.5. It means just half of the movement. And here $t as well. So we have a lot of cool variation on that. Yeah, that's our emission. You see how it's changing? It's good. And then we can scatter points on that. So let's scatter. I want to scatter based on an attribute. So density attribute can be the density or the color, because I plugged this in the color, but the density works fine. And we can relax. Yeah, we can keep like that. But I want to have like a density scale for that, because when the particle changes, we have like the scale of the amount of points is the same. So like that, we have 118,000 points. Is good. See, like, so this is the range. And now we can add some velocity. So point velocity, that's the initial velocity for our points. Let's plug. We want to keep incoming, and we want to add this velocity. So I want 8 and 8. It's the same that we had for our sails. It's more or less the range of these winds should be almost like consistent throughout everything in our project. So sometimes we had like 10, sometimes we have like 6, but in general, the range is more or less in this area. So, and then of course we need to add like a noise to break up a little bit the velocities, and they don't come very like just boring. Not 36, just 3. Scale also 8. We don't want like very little scale, because it's not how the wind works. Like you don't have like the wind for each particle a very different velocity. Like more or less the gusts come all together in range, affect a whole range, like 8 meters. They all kind of connected with the same type of noise, and then they kind of like start to blend with another area. But it's more like that. That's a little bit more accurate. We can just create like a pyro source. This is not like you could just create an attribute like for that, but I just want to initialize smoke. We don't need density. We already have the density, but what we do need is temperature, just to have like a little bit of lift. So I'm going to have like this default value to 0, 20, 25, just a little bit, and it's called temperature. The name is temperature. I want to increase the particle scale. We don't need a lot of resolution for that. The particle separation, and the particle scale I want to decrease. And we can set like a no. This is the emission, and from this emission we're going to have like two different simulations. One for points, that's kind of the rain point or the spray of the whole ocean point, and the other one is a smoke simulation for the mist that is passing through. So we're going to do that in our next lesson. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's start building the smoke sim first. What we need to do the point simulation is much better if we have the smoke sim and then we advect the points based on this simulation, so the points get like kind of pushed by the mist, like the wind that we're creating here. Now this is not the same wind that we created. When you do like a smoke sim, the main difference, let me grab my pen here. So what we did for the wind is just like a wind that we have like a vector, and we kind of like deform it with like a noise, right? Like, so the wind has this main thing and it just deformed by the noise. When we do a real simulation, like as we're going to do here, it just like the things can curl and do like some effects like that. They can come back and dissipate, and it's much more complex and precise, like, because it's actually simulating it. Is not just like a regular noise. So this is going to be richer and with much more realistic movement than just the wind system that we created here. Remember, let me just delete this, come back just to show you what I mean, like why we are doing that and why we're not just getting the same technique that we did for our wind. This wind, we have like a volume and we deformed that with a noise. So you can see the lines, they kind of just move in one direction and they kind of like have like this movement. It's nice. You can use that for advecting a lot of things. But for a real simulation in front of the camera is much better if you have like the wind actually working and interacting with the environment. So that's why we're not doing this way. We just wanted to see, otherwise you can do something and see. And here is our emission in relation to the ocean. So the camera is like that, like we have like the camera here. So what we're having is that whole thing emitting in this direction. So yeah, this is it. We can even move that a little bit upward so we don't waste a lot of things, but we can also delete these particles later. So yeah, I'm going to keep like that for now. It's okay. So let me just go and dive inside and let's create like a DOP network. I'm going to disable this so it doesn't simulate. And let's do like a DOP, not a DOP import, DOP network. Let's call this rain mist smoke sim. So we know that this is a little bit different. All right, so let's do the pyro sparse. This one is just like more efficient because it have like it evaluates based on like a more localized area instead of getting the whole range of the bounds to do it. So it's more efficient to do this way. It started, I guess, like in Houdini 18. I think so. I think it's Houdini 18 that they introduced the sparse pyros over, but I'm maybe I'm wrong, but it's yeah. I don't need any collision for that, so I'm just going to add like a gravity force here. It's going to complain now that we have like a smoke object, right? The resolution of the smoke object we can set like a 0.8. It's good enough, and yeah, we can keep like that. Creation. Oh, it's not this one. I want the smoke object sparse. This one. Yeah. So yeah, 0.8 is good, not very high res, it's just good enough. And we're going to have like a sub geometry, this one sub geo, to import the data, because we are feeding our solver of smoke solver with points, that these points they do have the density, the p scale, the temperature, and the velocity. So they have like all these attributes that you need, but we're going to rasterize them inside the solver. So yeah, that's why we're using that. Instead of set initial, we're going to set to always, and the subpath for that is just like the our alt emit. So let me alt emit is this guy. Great. And we keep that everything as is. So I'm going to plug this into the first input, and then we need the fluid dynamic, the gas resize fluid dynamic. This one, it allows it to compute and to, like, if the smoke is just in this area, it's just going to use this area to compute. Otherwise, it keep increasing with our simulation increases up to the max bound that we define. If you want to define a max bound, so let me just plug this. Let's do a merge because we're going to combine a few things with that. So I'm going to just plug this one in, and we plug that into the sourcing, and let's set the values for that. So the field, yeah, is the density. Max bounds, we can just like set the max bounds. I think we can do width to the, we have like a bound object for that. So maybe we need to create the bounds for this. So yeah, we can create the bound for that. I think we just needed to have like to be a little bit bigger, maybe. Or can we use that bound? I think we can use this bound. Let me just think about like this one. Yeah, we could use this as the bound. Let me just look through the camera. Yeah, I think this can be the, we can use that as the bound. So I'm going to place like a null and plug that and say this is our out bound. So this is the maximum area that we're going to simulate. Good. Yeah, it's great. I think it's going to work. So let me just copy this, step inside, and in the max bound we can set like to from object. I'm going to place our object in here, so it's just from object. We don't need that. So, and the tracking object, we need to just change the tracking object here. We're going to say the DOP, and the DOP path is the geometry. So we're going to track the geometry for that. And field is the same, max bound is the same. Yeah, it's all good. So now we need to bring the attributes. So we need to import the density, the velocities, and the temperature. The way to do that is with the gas field. Is gas particle to field. Is this one. So this is density. We did that before, so I'm just recapping what we did. So the destination field is the density, right? Like, so density, and the particle group is also, is not the particle, the attribute is the density. So yeah, we need to add. We can set like to always, and this is, yeah, we're just bringing that. So this is the temperature. And the attribute is also temperature. And also the velocities. So the destination field is val, and the attribute is v. So this is a little bit just val and v. All right, so it's taking the velocities of the points and just bringing that in. So the last thing is just to define like a few of the into the shape and into the temperature, the diffusion, like I want to increase the temperature diffusion to 0.3. It means that once the simulation starts, it's going to diffuse the temperature. It's going to allow the particles to just fall down with gravity. So it doesn't just keep rising, and so it does its trick to just keep it. Gravity we keep as the same. So I want to go to the shape tab, and I don't want to have any dissipation. This is not smoke. When you have a smoke, you imagine that like there is some flames. Once it starts to rise, it's going to dissipate and going to just kind of like disappear. But for us, we don't want our rain to just disappear every time in the halfway. Like you need it to not dissipate. One thing is dissipate the temperature, but not the density, right? Like so. I want a little bit of disturbance, and if we come to the disturbance tab, you can just go like get the ranges here, but I want to just increase the block size so it just sells better like the scale of this, and we keep everything as is. I also want to add like some turbulence, and if we go to the turbulence tab, we can just increase the swirl size. I want to have like 3, and we can keep everything as is. And then in the wind tab, I also want to add some wind, because one thing is the initial velocity, but I want to also have some wind over this. So I want the wind to be 10 and 7. It's good, or 9 and 7. Strong wind with the value of 1, and we are all good. With that, we have like everything set. If we come here and enable that, we can just check if we are actually having like it's working. Yeah, and it is. You see it's emitting from these areas. The denser the area, it's going to emit more, and it's going to fade out through these areas, and it's going to start with the initial velocity, but also going to be affected by the wind that we defined. It's great. So it's working. Awesome. We need to cache. If you remember, the way to cache this is the import field. We say like top import fields. I don't care about the temperature for this import, but I want the density and the velocity. The velocity we're going to use to advect that. So I'm going to bring this one, and this object, what is the name, is smoke object sparse, and we can do like pyro, but we delete everything else. Yeah, we keep the density, the velocities, and let's place a fire cache. Great. See you in the next one. We're going to review what we get from our simulation, and then we're going to use the velocities of this to advect for a pop sim, a regular particle simulation. Just one thing before you cache, because here I have my cache. It's very heavy, and if you need to optimize, I would suggest like decreasing the bound size of that, especially on the top, if you don't see too much on the top, or also the bottom part to increase. and you can increase the resolution of that, like in here. If we go to this one, you can just come to the smoke object sparse and increase that. It's fine, it's a big area, it wouldn't hurt like getting like 1.5. It's going to have like enough for you. It's going to have like very blurry, and it's just to give like this mist feel. So just take that into account before you cache if you have like storage limitations or anything like that. So it didn't take long to simulate. It was kind of like fast. I think it took like 3 hours, something like that. So it's okay. It's not like that bad, but it's a lot of like 468 million voxels in my simulation, and we need to do a couple of things with that. So afterwards, see you in the next one. We're going to just post process this and work on our pop sim. Thank you. Hey, and welcome back. Let's do like a convert VDB convert. Yeah. Remember that this one is this little green is the Houdini default volumes. I want to bring them to VDBs. I prefer to work with VDBs, especially because other softwares, if you're exporting things to other software, the VDB is more well accepted between DCCs. So yeah, in this case, you just want to convert to VDB, and I want to also split this. Oh, sorry. Split. I want the density to be in one side, and the other side is the velocities. For the velocities, we're going to do the vector merge, vector to scalar. This one. So it's just going to bring the three vectors and bring into a single field. Yeah, like this is a vector now. And for that, what I want to do, I want to bring an object merge. I want to take our main flip simulation. I want to the volume one. So we need to come to the wave tank fluid, and I want to the render vol accept. So is this guy. So I want to bring this guy. I want to convert this to a fog VDB. So VDB from polygons. Instead of using the surface, we want to have like a fog, and I want to increase that. So, and we can do like a volume VOP just to delete any part of this sim that's in there. So I want to do like that. And this one, I want to dive inside. And I want to do a volume sample. That, like that. I want to compare. It's less than 0. We multiply. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I was going to do like, if you do like a VGB combine, it's good that I did this mistake. You can keep that as a fog VGB with the density, and if you subtract one from the other, like it's going to just keep like the area that we want. But the thing is that the resolution of that is much bigger, so it's better that we do like a distance as yet, a surface, and then we do like that. Then we can actually get the sample and see what's inside the SDF and what's outside, and not on the fog. So the fog version would be to use the VGB combine and set this to subtract, right? And but this method is a little bit faster because you can have a very low res, because we don't care about the resolution of the flip. Just everything that's go to be inside is going to be cut off. So you see here, it's much bigger, and then Here we keep this area, but I think it's wrong. Let me just double check. Yeah, we're keeping inside it, and we don't want that. So greater than, not less than. Sorry, we actually want the opposite. Otherwise, this was bringing a value of 1, a positive value for the multiplication for everything that was inside. We want everything that is bigger than 1, so everything outside the surface to be the multiplication. So that's it. So now we have like that instead of that. So it's cutting out this in here. All right, there's still something there, but the camera won't pick up. It's just about optimizing it, and we don't need that. So I think that's good. So I'm going to do like a no, and I'm going to call this density out mist density, and this one is out mist val. All right, so I probably pressed a little bit, like I press L or something, and then it just reorganized the nodes. I don't want. Okay, great. So let's do a regular pop sim. So we're going to do like a pop network. All right. That's going to be much faster to calculate. It's just, let's call this pop rain sim, like that. We can grab this point straight into this. So this is the fourth of the point. And let's unplug that and dive inside. So we need the advection, we need gravity. So I'm going to add gravity force. Yeah, gravity force, pop object. Yeah, okay, let's go. So first, this is all points, and we can add a little bit of like add to inherit velocities and just play for a little bit of variance, nothing crazy. And we can come to the birth tab and reduce that to 4 or even like 3 seconds enough for it. Can be positive in this case, and we going to do that in every frame. All good. So let's do a pop advect by volume. So pop advect by volumes, and we want that to be out mist val. This is the guy. Can be 1 and not treat as wind, update force, and 1 and 1. It's good. Pop kill, just to kill the particles that are inside that. We're going to use the bounds for that. So I want to get like a bounding object, and this is outbound. And we're going to invert that because otherwise we're deleting whatever is inside the bound, but we want to delete everything that's outside, and we need to enable that. All right. We can also bring to delete already like whatever is inside the ocean. So we can do like another pop kill. And I want to delete the particles that are inside the ocean, so we can just do the same thing, enable bounding object, and this one we're going to pick because what we want is to pick the render vol. It's this guy. Whatever is inside this, we want to delete. So in this case, we're not going to inverse. This is whatever we want to delete. And in this, we want to delete outside the bounding box. The bounding is what we want to keep. And also the regular pop drag, just with a default value like pop drag, just to have like something And I think that's it. We can just delete that. Gravity, yeah, substep, everything's the same. We're good. We can just do the regular attribute delete. Delete. In this case, we just want to keep delete not selected. I want to keep V. I want to keep age, life, and ID. That's what we need. We don't need anything else. The P is by default is always there. You don't need to set P to keep P. It's going to keep it anyway. And we can do like a group delete. And let's delete all. But this is not from here. It could be it would work like that, but I always like to put like the dot, because if you have anything else inside your network and you don't want to extract, this would output everything, even the collisions. So .io, and this one is in here. Let's get like this, like so. And this is the rain cache. I also want to do like this cache, and yeah, like that. So here we need to define the top is this one, pop object, and particles. Yeah, the geometry. And that's it. Just let's cache this guy out, starting from frame 1. It's good. We need some pre-roll. You can't just render that. You need pre-roll. So thank you. And in the next lesson, we're going to evaluate what we have and bring them to the render to see if we have every element. Thank you. So welcome back again. We have this set. We have like roughly 4 million points, 5 million points. If again, like if you need to have like less, in this case, what you would do is to the scatter node, reduce the amount of points, like in this, and you scatter less, so it's going to emit less. And yeah, that would just make it more manageable, but 4 million is not a lot. And this is very fast to simulate. It's good even to you see how it loads from disk. It's almost like very fast, like it's not heavy at all. We just need to do like some attribute randomize for these guys, and I want to randomize the p scale one dimension, because it's just like from 0.0025 to 0.005. Yeah, this is okay. We can visualize that from the camera. We can come here and set disks and set here. This one. Yeah, you see you have like some nice ones. They're just closer to the camera, and some other ones. And you see the negative space, like some chunks are more dense than other areas. This is what makes it really cool. You see like, yeah, we have like some, and then like a gust of wind passing and some variations. That's really nice. So we can just place like a no, and this is out rain. So we call rain, but it could be wherever. Rain out. Let me write out rain. Awesome, this is great. Should we give it like some density? Yeah, why not? Like I can want to attribute create, and let's also create a density attribute for it, just to have density. And the value, I like to give it all like a density of 1. But yeah, no, actually not. Like let's render that like as not like white water with volume. let's say that this is spray of particles of water, so we don't need to have actually something like that. It can be just regular points of water. Awesome, great. So we can get like even some specular maybe if we are lucky enough. Let's dive into Solaris again and let's import. So I'm going to split these two like that. I'm going to come in here and set this to dual, so it's going to divide my screen into the two sections. You don't have that by default, but it's basically, if you want to do that, what you need to do, you come to this tab, like for example, let me go back to build. You come in here and you split left and right. You come in here and you split left and right, so you have like that. And this one, you right click and set this to 1, and this is to 1. You set this to 2 and set this to 2. What it means, like when you make a selection here, it's going to show the properties of that selection in here and another one in here. So, and then you come and save current desktop as, and then you're going to give a name. In my case, the name is dual. I just want to go to the stage context for that. We need to bring the sales as well. So let's load everything. So for now, what we can do, we can just set this to 1. Set this to 1. You can keep the oceans. You can keep the boat. So let's bring the sales of the boat. I'm going to do like a sub import node. Yeah, or we can just, why not, like, let's copy this and let's set this main sail simulated, and this one is from the boat. This beautiful guy right there, and this is under, we can just set this under sailboat, so we have like another section, sail boat, and let me copy that, and here also under sailboat, just for organization. It's not going to affect the render or anything like that. This one is just to calculate the motion blur, so I can merge them like this and this, and we can have like another one for the Genoa. This, and yeah, it's good. So we bring the material in here, right? And I already have like set the material for the sail, but we are kind of missing now like something. Okay, there was an issue. I'm going to disable that for the reason that I set this into this import prefix path, but it's good. I just don't want to change that, otherwise I need to rename all the hierarchy here, and I don't, because it's set to sailboat. Otherwise, in the primitives, we will have an extra layer here that would be the sailboat, and then this name, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to add 2 more, like 30. Oh no, we can just enable again the sail, because we disable it, this, but the name is, let's just copy this guy. It's easier to rename the opposite way. So this is going to be like that, and it brought in, and then the main sail, we need to see where we disable that, this one, and the name is main sail simulated like that. So I'm going to just paste that, so we don't need to rename that. So it's all good. we have like the materials, we have that, it's going to render and it's going to be fine. Let's bring now our water spray. So maybe we can just give this guy, I want to deselect that, and I want to bring everything down so we can have like another one for this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just grab all this and copy, and this is going to be rain mist. Let's recolor that. The color for the rain mist, let's give it like a darker color like that. And this is rain particles, and this is mist, rain mist vol as volume. All right, so for this guy, let me go back to our we can set this to manual to make it like everything faster for now, and just grab. So what we want for these particles, for the particles, are these guys. Yeah, all good. We can set this to white water, under white water. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's good. Well, let's set like to rain. Yeah, let's do like rain. This one also rain, so before we forget. And for that guy, we set like rain particles. That's good. Let's dive inside and let's create a material. So we can do like a Karma. Oh, actually, we don't need like to do like, we can just do like a standard surface because there's going to be only one material. And this is going to be rain. And for that, I want to reduce that to 0. I want to keep the specular like that. I want to change the index of refraction to 1.33. That's the water one. And I want to increase that to 0.8. Just to have like a 0.9. And that's good. Yeah, we have like this glass shader now for it. And this is rain points matte. And we need to call, but yeah, let's do that and then we rename that and set it correctly, because we need that to set this to stage. This is the rain points matte rain. Yeah, this one. And the geometry is going to be under rain, and then the name is this one. So it's going to be under rain and this name. Great. So this is the volume. What we need the volume is the density of it. So that's the density, rain and density, and then we call this rain mist matte. We can dive inside. We already have like that. We might need to make it like less, but we see how it goes. But for that, we need to just make the selection. Rain mist matte, mist. Yeah, selected correctly. But this one we need to copy. And then in here, we need to write rain and paste. All right, so we have that. We can just visualize that straight. We can just merge. Why not? Let's merge. And this one set to 1. It was set to 1 because we copied from the other one that we don't want to visualize, but we do want to visualize this one. And that's it. I'm going to save. I'm going to render and see what we get. I'm going to go to the frame like 112, something like that. And let's see. Thank you. So here's the render is rendering. We're going to do that later in a much more efficient way, but for now it's just to see if the layers are coming in, and they are. The sail is there, the mist is there, everything is there. But we're going to render them with the XPU and in a separate pass that's going to be applied on top of everything, so it doesn't need to now if you render like that, the water is going to kind of like try to reflect this, and there's a lot of information, and we don't want to get like that complex, because this layer mist for the foreground, we just need to add the boat to be a matte, to cut off the volume and the particles. So we're going to set that in a different render to have like this, and it's going to cut off the mist. So the ocean we don't need to add as a matte, because we deleted the particles inside the ocean already. So we deleted that. So we don't need to have that in this as a matte to cut off. Like a matte is just a way to cut off. So basically, if I pause the render, we're going to do that later with that. So we're going to have like a one scene to render everything without this, another scene to render the mist, the rain, with the boat just cutting everything that is behind the boat, and then we're going to have another one for the background ocean. So we're going to have like this in 3 layers. Yeah, so we have everything set for the first shot, and let's in the next lesson start to organize these 3 separate layers that we're going to render with the definition that we're going to have, and so on. And we are almost there for the main shot. Okay, thank you.